So I'm live, and I know no one's here yet, so I'm just trying to get it all situated on here and on Facebook so that we can make sure everyone can see it. So just give me a minute so I can finish going live on both of them. Oh, Jordan's here. I see her. Let's see. I'm going to go live on Facebook too so that, because I want to make sure everyone can see it. And of course, it's going to go really slow on me just because it can. Oh, I think it's going to start working. And I forget that Facebook is like backwards. Have to do a silly face, of course. We'll wait just a few more minutes and see who else is here. I see Ryan is here on Facebook. It looks like Jordan's here as well. Sharika and Emma. Trying to see. Hard to see on YouTube, but I see some people, so I'm not by myself. I'm going to wait just a couple more minutes to make sure everyone who wants to get here can get here. But I also want to make sure that I'm getting this done quickly so that everyone is going to bed soon because we have a big day tomorrow. And this is crooked. That's aggravating. Who else is going to come? Who else? Gonna give one more minute. That's it. Then we gotta go. Gotta get a move on. See people on YouTube and on Facebook. More people on Facebook, like I figured. But some people on YouTube. Facebook is backwards and YouTube is not. So I have two screens up and one is like, ooh, that looks weird. Let's see, Sophia is here. You're right. Bedtime is soon. Bedtime is coming. So is winter, but bedtime first. And I know some of the parents are ready to get their kids in bed because Game of Thrones is coming on. Wearing my House of Reveille, my new A&M shirt I got this weekend in College Station for Coach's graduation. All right. So I wanted to kind of go over a couple of reminders. I put them on my phone so I wouldn't forget. A couple of reminders for this week. Well, first of all, Ranger is here as well. Ranger, say hi. Ranger. He was here for the last read aloud, and so he had to be here for this read aloud. Coach is actually home with Elle in the other room. I'm really hoping he doesn't sneak in because this is awkward enough. I don't need him interrupting my fun. But tomorrow is a STAAR test for third and fourth this time. Last time it was just for fourth. But it's going to be very similar for fourth. For third grade, it's going to be brand new. They've never done it before. But for fourth grade, we're used to it. We've done our benchmarks. We did third grade STAAR. Like we're ready to go. If I could find it. I made notes and everything. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing like before where I want you there at what time? Does anyone know? 7:25. We're going to open the doors at 7:30. There is no tutoring. I want everyone there at 7:25 so that I can cross you off my list to make sure you're there on time. You're going to go straight to the library because there's going to be free breakfast. You're welcome to eat before. You're welcome to eat before and during the free breakfast, completely up to you. But we want to make sure that everyone's there on time and that everyone is fed. Those are two big things. I know school typically starts at 7:55, but at that point, I'm already giving, reminders, directions, making sure everyone's where they need to be, making sure everyone's gone to the bathroom. So get there at 7:25. Ooh, good job. Jordan needs to go. Jordan knew that we would need to get there at 7:25. And she also asked, why do we need to go to bed so early? I know it's STAAR, because your brain needs all the power it can get to perform tomorrow. It is jam-packed with knowledge, and I don't want it worrying about how sleepy you are or how hungry you are or about anything else going on, or about how stressful your morning is or anything. I want it to be able to focus solely on the test so that we can get it out the way in a good way, show what we know, and move on. So I want you there at 7:25 in the library, free breakfast. Whoop, whoop. One less thing for your parents to have to worry about. Tonight, make sure that you go to bed early. You get a good night's sleep. You relax. I see some other people commented. Good job, guys. Relax, eat a good breakfast tonight. Go ahead and lay out your clothes for tomorrow morning tonight before you go to bed. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. Mine are already laid out. I already know what pants I'm wearing, what shirt I'm wearing, my socks, my shoes, comfy shoes, because I don't want to be walking around because teachers have to walk around. I don't want to be walking around with sore feet because that's not what I want to be thinking of. I am also wearing long pants because you know that in our classroom it gets really cold, especially when we're not moving around. I'm also going to bring like a little light jacket just to keep in case I need it. It could go on the back of my chair if I don't. And I kind of told the kids the same thing. I would like you to bring like a little light jacket just in case. I don't want anyone being cold. Because if you're cold, it's hard to think. We don't have to worry about it being too hot. It has never once been too hot in our classroom this year. So that is not a worry of mine. Tomorrow morning, I need you to be on time, 7:25. Be positive. Eat a healthy breakfast or two. Get to school early for the not only breakfast but the pep talk. All the teachers are going to be there tomorrow to like cheer you on and everything. You also want to get there right at 7:25, not super late, because last time it was already packed with just fourth grade students in there trying to get their food and find a seat. And this time it's going to be third and fourth grade students trying to find a seat and get their food. So it's going to be crazy busy. So the earlier you are, then the less you have to stress out about that. A reminder for parents, there are no visitors on campus for any grade level, not just the STAAR testing. So no kindergarten parents having lunch with their kids, none of that. Don't forget your lunch box or make sure you have lunch money because those won't be able to be delivered to the classroom during the test. Our daily schedule will be different because we're going from like 8 to 12:30-ish for the testing and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll have lunch at 12:30 and we're used to eating lunch at 11. So that is going to be a big difference, but they'll have plenty of snacks. You are welcome to bring your own snack as long as it's not messy. Nothing that needs, spoons or napkins or that can leave like Cheeto hands. None of that. Needs to be healthy for our brains. You're welcome to also bring a water bottle. But just like in the past, the kids will get 2 snacks at school. They'll get a fruit snack, a little bag of fruit snacks, and a little bag of animal crackers and a water bottle with in my class, we put our numbers on them so that they don't get mixed up. So they will already have 2 snacks and a water, but they're welcome to bring an additional one if they want, as long as it's healthy and not messy. So tomorrow is math, Monday is math, and then Tuesday is reading. I have no idea how many questions they're going to be because I'm not allowed to look at it. I have no idea how many reading passages there are going to be because I'm not allowed to look at it. But I do know that we're going to have to do unwrap for reading and UPS check for math to make sure that we are doing our very, very best. What to bring? Snacks and water bottle. Covered that. Jackets because it gets cold. Covered that. A smile. Make sure you're bringing your smile. Remember, when we're smiling, we're releasing endorphins. We're tricking our brain into thinking that we are happy, which actually makes us happy. Do not bring your phone. Do not bring electronics. You don't need to bring any of that. If your parents are absolutely making you bring your phone, that's fine, but we will have to turn those into the office. Even teachers have to turn in our phones into the office. So there is no reason to have them. No reason to bring your tablet or anything like that. After the test, there is nothing going on. You will not have fun time, free time, technology time. Not happening. You also will not need to bring your backpack at all. I would prefer you not to bring your backpack. We are not having backpacks in the classroom, and they take up way too much space in the hallway if every single person brought their backpack. So just don't. No reason. You can bring your lunchbox, and that's about it. If you want to bring your phone, put it in your lunchbox, and then you're going to have to turn it into me. So please, parents, don't send lunchboxes. Please, parents, don't send backpacks. Lunchboxes are fine, but that's it. I think that's all I need to cover on that. So I think it's time now for a read aloud. And I was trying to go through books that I knew that you may not have read. You know, there's Testing Miss Malarkey, there's The Big Test, there's the Anti-Test Taking Anxiety Society, and we've read all of those. And those are all great books, but I wanted to read something that maybe we hadn't have read. So I borrowed one of Miss Casey Smith's books, and it's called Your Special Gift. And you may recognize this because it is it follows the same storyline as You Are Special by Max Lucado. And but this is kind of like the next step in Punchinello's story. So it's called Your Special Gift. And it's not really about test taking, which I like, but you'll see why I picked it in a minute. Your special gift. All right. Punchinello stepped out of his little house, looked at the bright orange sunrise, listened to the singing birds, and smiled. "What a great day, Eli," he shouted to his maker. Eli looked up and waved. His house sat on the highest hill, but not so high that he couldn't hear and see the wooden people he had made, the Wimmicks. "Consider it a gift, my friend," he replied, and entered his workshop. So remember Punchinello from before, and he was made by Eli, and he was dealing with the dots and the star stickers before. I don't see any stickers, so that's a good sign. Guess we're keeping up with that. Punchinello noticed a bright red package in his mailbox. "My, what is this? Someone brought me a present." He unwrapped it. A hammer. "I love hammers, but who gave it to me?" He looked up and down his street, but saw no one. Not far away, in another small house, Lucia, Punchinello's friend, was asking the same question. "Who gave me such a nice gift?" she wondered as she lifted the lid off the box she found outside her front door. A paintbrush and a palette of paint. "I love to paint, but who knew that?" Splint and Woody lived down the road from Lucia. They found their gifts at the foot of their beds. "Wow, thanks, Woody," Splint exclaimed. "I didn't give it to you," Woody replied. "Did you give this to me?" He held up a green box and a yellow ribbon. "No, but let's open our presents." "Sewing stuff." Woody held up a needle and thread. "I love to sew." "A guitar. I know how to play one of these. Who do you suppose brought these gifts to us?" "And why?" Woody added. Splint and Woody weren't the only curious Wimmicks. Hans, the baker, announced to his wife, "Look, a new spoon." Violet, the florist, found a beautiful vase on her doorstep. Even the mayor and his wife discovered gifts. "Look, a bucket and a brush," the mayor beamed. "I love to clean things. Why, when I was a little Wimmick—" "Not me," his wife said. "I don't like to clean anything." "That gift must be for you." "And this one must be for you," replied the mayor as he reached further into the box. "A book." "A storybook for little Wimmicks. What fun! Who gave us these gifts?" asked the wife. "I don't know," replied the mayor, looking out his second-floor window to the street below. "But I see some little Wimmicks who could use a story." The mayor and his wife looked down at a very tired Wimmick family. The mother and father were leaning against a wagon. Their 3 children, looking cold and sad, sat in the back By the time the mayor and his wife reached the street, other Wemmicks were already with the family. Punch, Lucia, Splint, and Woody had brought their gifts to the village, hoping to find the giver. But when they saw the wagon, they dropped their presents in a pile and forgot all about them. "What happened?" Lucia asked the family. "Everything has gone wrong," the father explained. "Our wagon wheel broke when we crossed the bridge." Sad. It is nice that they put their new presents aside to care for someone, though. When the wheel broke, the wagon tilted and our clothes fell into the river and washed away. The rain soaked our food. We're tired and hungry and dirty. "Where are you going?" "We came from far away to see Eli," the mother answered. "But I don't think we'll make it. So tired, so hungry." Her voice trailed off and her head hung low. For a few moments, no one spoke. No one knew what to say. But Punchinello had an idea. He turned to his friends and announced, "Hey, we can help this family to see Eli." "Yeah," they agreed, and every Wemmick ran to work on the broken wheel. Splint and Woody tried to yank it off, but it wouldn't budge. "Here, let me get it," demanded Hans, the baker. But when he pulled, the wheel broke into 2 pieces. "Now see what you've done," said the mayor. "Let me take over." But when he lifted the wheel, it just fell apart. This isn't working, Punchinello thought, but he didn't know what to do. "We are so cold and so hungry," the mother moaned. "I have clothes," Hans yelled, running toward his house. "I know how to cook," shouted the mayor's wife, which caused the mayor to look at her. "I did cook," she told him, hurrying away, "once, a long, long time ago." "Well, maybe I helped someone else cook, but I can try." But she didn't know how to cook. She returned with burned bread and cold soup. And Hans brought clothes, but not clothes the family could use. They were cut to fit his short and square body. "This still isn't working," Punch said to himself, but he still didn't know what to do. Neither did anyone else. The family still shivered and their tummies still growled. What's worse, the Wemmicks began to argue with each other. "Your food's not fit to eat," Splint told the mayor's wife, "and your wheel is no good for rolling," she replied. When Lucia chuckled, Splint yelled at her, "And you haven't helped at all." "Well, I don't know what to do." "None of us do," said Punchinello. "That's our problem." He flopped down on the box and plopped his chin right in his hand. "Something isn't right." Everyone grew quiet. "You bet it's not right," agreed Lucia. "But what would we do?" Punch lifted his head and smiled. "I know. Let's go ask Eli." Everyone liked that idea. So together they walked up the hill to Eli's workshop. Punchinello knocked on the big wooden door. Eli opened it, wearing his apron and a warm smile. "Hello, friends." He sat down on the bench. "How can I help you?" They told him about the family of travelers. As they described their broken wheel, Eli nodded. "I know." When they told their maker about the lost clothing and ruined food, he nodded again. "I know." "They're coming to see you, Eli," Lucia added. "I know," he smiled. "You know?" she asked. "You knew about the wheel and the food and the clothing?" "I did." "You knew they were coming to see you?" He nodded again. Lucia looked at Punch. Punch looked at the others. They all looked at Eli and asked, "Then why didn't you help them?" "I did." Did? He was sitting in his house. The Wemmicks were puzzled. "You did? How did you help them?" "I sent you." "Us?" "You. I led them through the village so that you could help them." For a moment, no one spoke. Finally, Punchinello did. "That's our problem, Eli. We want to help, but we don't know how. The wheel is still broken, and the travelers are still cold, and the food is still bad." Even the mayor's wife nodded. Sounds to me like everyone is doing something, but no one is doing the right thing, Eli explained. What? Splint and Woody asked. Try this, Eli smiled. Each of you do the most what you do best. The villagers pondered his words. Do the most what you do the best? Yes, do the most what you do the best, Eli repeated. You have gifts, don't you? For a moment, no one spoke. Then Punchinello remembered. I do. I have a hammer. And I have a guitar, Splint piped up. Someone gave me a needle and thread, Woody added. One by one, the Wimmicks announced their gifts until Lucia realized, Did you give us those, Eli? The maker nodded and smiled. Use the gifts I gave you. Don't try to use the gifts that you don't have. Just do the most what you do the best. Feeling much better, they returned to the village and walked straight to the pile of gifts. Punchinello took his hammer, looked at the wagon, and said, I can repair the wheel with this. Ranger, shh. Splint took the needle and thread. Time for me to make some clothes. Hans the baker cooked with his spoon, the mayor cleaned the wagon with his brush, and Lucia decorated it with her paint. And the baker fed the family, and Splint finished sewing their new clothes. The mayor's wife read stories to the children, and Woody sang them songs. Not for long, however. The family was so tired that they soon fell fast asleep. All the Wimmicks agreed to meet the next morning to take the travelers to Eli. As the sun rose, a group of happy Wimmicks led the wagon and the travelers up the hill. The birds sang and the Wimmicks smiled. When they reached Eli's house, he was glad to see them. Looks like you made some progress. We sure did, Eli, Punchinello smiled. Thank you for the gifts. Know anyone else who needs some help? The end. So it seems kind of like a weird book to read before testing because it really has nothing to do with testing. But when I was looking through all the books that I was thinking about reading, that one really, really stood out. And it kind of made me think of two different kind of stories. And one is that all of you have come to Lone Star at some point. Some of you came, in kindergarten, and some of you came and left and came back, and some of you came in fourth grade. And we even have one who came just a couple of months ago. And I feel like everyone came here for a reason because at Lone Star, we all have gifts to give and we all have done things to prepare you for this week. You've had lots of different teachers and parents and friends and family who have taught you things throughout the years. And all of them have gotten you ready for this, for tomorrow. I tell you all the time that this is like our Super Bowl, and I mean it. You have done well. You have prepared well. We have had lots of practices and scrimmages and playbooks to go over, and it's time. It's time to just kind of show what we know and leave it all on the field. Don't hold anything back. Like he said, use your gifts and give it your all. Don't worry about fifth grade. Don't worry about upsetting anyone. Don't worry about anything that's going on at home or your friends or your family or anything. Leave it all at the door. Release it, relax, and then just do your best. It's only 8 hours total, so 4 hours on Monday, 4 hours on Tuesday, and then you're done with STAAR test for a year. And you won't have to worry about it until the next grade. And then we'll have lots of fun celebrating all of our hard work. Just like last time, I do have my strategy sack that I would love to whip out and celebrate later this week. Has lots of similar things in it from last time, but there are some new secrets that I've added to there. So I'm not going to tell you what's in the sack, but if I see everyone showing their strategies and showing their thinking, letting me know and letting the test creators, I guess, know how well you're doing and what you think of the test, then I'm really excited to celebrate later this week. So I said that I read this book for two reasons. One is because you all have gifts, the teachers all have gifts, and you all came here for a reason. So I kind of wanted to go through some of those gifts, some of those things that the STAAR test may not test. All the STAAR test can test is whether or not you have learned and can show math abilities and reading abilities. It can show whether or not you have test taking abilities. It can show whether or not you can perform well under stress and under a time limit, but it cannot measure who you are, what you're going to do with your life, how successful you're going to be when you grow up. It cannot measure how kind you are, how much honorable character you show, how much love you give, anything like that. It doesn't show any of that. I actually went up to the classroom today to get the classroom ready for tomorrow, since I wasn't there on Friday. And I, not even kidding, teared up and cried a little bit because I was so thankful for all 22 of my students who got the classroom ready for me. So when I went in today, I had like 1 or 2 things to do and then I was done, because you moved the desk around the way I liked it. You moved the rugs around the way I liked it. And the STAAR test can never measure like how kind and loving and caring you are. And I know that it is important. I do want you to do your best, but at the end of the day, like I love you regardless. So I wrote down some of the things that I know the STAAR test can't measure. For example, Jordan, it can't measure your joy. For Ian, it can't measure your giggles and laughter. For Madison, it can't measure your friendly spirit. For Sophia, it can't measure your old soul. For Ethan Carter, it cannot measure your sarcasm. For Ethan Day, it cannot measure your eagerness. For Chase, it cannot measure your motivation. For Anara, it cannot measure your sweetheart. For Mace, it cannot measure your humor. For Aiden, it cannot measure how willing you are to have a fresh start. For Ryan, it cannot measure your respect. For Ibrahim, it cannot measure your honesty. For Spencer, it cannot measure your givingness. For Joshua, it cannot measure your kind heart. For Svanik, it cannot measure your out-of-the-boxness. For Ella, it cannot measure your loving heart. For Emma, it cannot measure your I can do this mindset. For George, it cannot measure your smile. For Sharika, it cannot measure your helpful spirit. For Nolan, it cannot measure your challenge accepted attitude. For Catlin, it cannot measure your bravery. And for Ireland, it cannot measure your courage coming to a new school and starting all over. You are all ready. You've been preparing for this for 5+ years, kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth. Some of you even went to preschool. We have done lots of tests and lots of benchmarks, and all of you have grown so much this year, and I am so excited to see how well you do this week. You will be getting these scores in the summer, so when I'm no longer your teacher, you will be getting these scores, but I have told you that if they are amazing scores, that I will call you, send you a letter. If you get like that next level, that mastery, commended level, whatever, I will come to your house and bring you ice cream. I'm not even kidding, because this is a hard thing for 9 to 10-year-olds to do, but I'm not worried, and I don't want you to be worried, and I just want you to get a good, fresh night's sleep, good breakfast, 7:25 in the morning. I'll be there. All the teachers will be wearing our purple shirts, but I'll be there trying to be front and center. So when you walk in, first thing you do is you tell them your name so they can cross you off the list. Second thing you do is you come give me a hug, then you can get your food and relax and hang out with your friends for a little bit. But I'm pumped, I'm excited, and I hope you are too. But I want everyone to go right now, brush your teeth, and go to bed soon. Give your parents some time to go watch Game of Thrones. You don't watch Game of Thrones. You have a lot to be doing tomorrow. But I will see you fresh and early and bright and early in the morning. And I love you, and good night. And it's our game day tomorrow. I'm so excited. Mwah! Love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.